Voting machines were introduced in 1892. By the 1930s, most major cities were using lever voting machines. Computers were first implemented to scan paper ballots in the 1960s. Today, most votes, including absentee ballots, are processed with some type of machine. Federal reliability standards allow for almost 10% of voting machines to fail on Election Day.
During the hours of 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., everyone was turned away due to broken machines. That's what I watched.
I attempted to get my vote registered repeatedly. It never took the vote. The election officials came there and sort of tinkered with it, and after a while, the whole screen went blank as though the plug had been pulled, and they said, "You have voted."
The big green vote button was beckoning. I almost pushed it, and I said, "No, wait a minute. I want to proofread what I just did. I want to look over my selections." I looked up into the upper left-hand corner, and the area for President of the United States was now flashing again. My vote for John Kerry had been neutralized. It had been reset.
I pushed John Kerry, and my vote immediately jumped up to George Bush. After I started screaming about them cheating again, the aide hurried up and came over and said, "Oh, that's been happening a lot. Just go out and push John Kerry again." And I'm saying, "You say that's been happening a lot and it hasn't been corrected?" "Yes, but we can't do anything about it."
The flip voting is probably the most important piece of this puzzle. There's testimony from Clint Curtis. He testified at the hearing here in Columbus on December 13th, and basically talked about how you can design in your software a process that flips the vote.
I've worked for NASA, ExxonMobil, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Florida Fish and Wildlife. I became the golden-haired boy of Yang Enterprises, the super programmer guy. Very early on, when I was working there, we also had another guy working there. His name is Tom Feeney. He was a Republican. I'd been a Republican. I was from Illinois. Feeney comes in, and he is incoming Speaker of the Florida House. At the same time, he is also the company's chief lobbyist and their corporate attorney, which sounds like a conflict of interest. And he wanted us to be able to prototype a machine that would run on touchscreens. Now, there weren't any touchscreens in Florida at the time. You know, this was 2000. He wanted to make sure it didn't take any third-party implements. You didn't have to sit across the street. You didn't have to have a special card to hack it with. You didn't have to come in with a keyboard in the dark of night and flip votes. So he wanted this program which would flip votes, look like it didn't, and be undetectable. So I assumed, since the Democrats were in power, that he knew they were trying to push in this vote fraud machine, and how would you stop it? So I built the thing. It took 5 hours, right? And then I built the document that says that this is how you stop electronic vote fraud. And all you have to do for that is you have to make sure that it prints out a paper ballot separate from the machine. Because if it connects to the machine, the programmer owns it. So you put a little thermal paper roll on the side, I can change it anytime I want to. If there's too many votes and it's too hard to do, I can black the whole paper out just by heating it up too much. It's real simple to do. It's all smoke and mirrors to put that on there and claim that that's anything. It's also very hard to count that. I hand that over to the owner of the company and say, here it is, you can give it to Feeney, he wanted to show it to whoever he wanted to show it to. And here's a document they can walk through to make sure no one's going to be able to do it. And she says, you don't understand, we need to hide the fraud in the source code, which you can't do. If you have the real source code, and that's iffy as to whether you get the real one or you get a fake one, but if you have the real source code, you're going to see the math. Because a voting machine should be adding 1 to a total. If you see something in there that says 0.51% or something like this going on, that's a little too much math for a voting machine. It shouldn't be doing anything special. The only way you can cheat an election with electronic machines is to have them built by someone privately, so you can't monitor how it's done or anything else. They basically have to favor a party. Everything's proprietary, so you can't see it. No audit trail, so you can't check it, except for the internal one, which you just change whenever you want to anyway. It's That's silly. No external audit trail that actually gives you a physical record. And, and then no way to verify it. Just, we'll tell you who won. Who's going to let that go through?